look, here we are. The forest path to Osaka Castle were winding and arduous, requiring all my stamina to traverse. I had ended up far more exhausted by the end of it than I had expected to be. When we finally arrived to Osaka Castle to meet with the Shinsengumi men, I went to bed almost immediately, practically collapsing upon the futon. It was a huge relief to have a place in which to sleep, and when I awoke, it was evening already. I rushed to the Great Hall, but there wasn't anyone to be seen anywhere. Where's Heisuke and Hichikata-san? I was muttering to myself, almost half asleep still. Saito-san! Oh, it's so good to see you safe, Saito.
Yukimura, どうやらあんたも無事だったようで何よりだ。
Where is everyone? As soon as I got here, they told me to get some rest, so I wasn't able to see how everyone was doing. Is everyone safe?
全員が無事とは言い難いな。特に山崎は重傷を負ってかなり危険な状態だ。局長と宗司はあの戦いに参加していないから怪我の心配はないが、局長はともかく宗司の病状は良くはない。
I see.
それに源さんは。
I heard about Inoue almost as soon as we'd arrived.
そうか。
The news about Inoue was waiting for us as Heisuke and I met with everyone. To think that the sight of his warm smile or the peaceful sound of his voice would no longer be things in which I could take solace broke my heart. To top it off, too, Yamazaki was badly hurt. Saito-san, what's going to happen to the Shinsengumi?
大使が少しずつこの大坂城に集まっている。人数が揃えば江戸に戻ることになるだろう。だからあんたも今のうちに体を休めておくといい。
Understood. Did you see Heisuke?
平助か。先ほど一人で外に出て行ったようだが。
What? But the sun's still out. I'm worried, so I'm going to check on him. Ever since Heisuke had become a fury, his mood often fluctuated extremely, even in talking to me. I wasn't comfortable leaving Heisuke alone, so after Saito-san gave me the go-ahead, I bowed and I walked outside to find Heisuke. As I went past the castle's inner court, I witnessed a beautiful sunset above the castle walls. Near the wall, bathed in amber light, I saw Heisuke.
Huh? Ah.
He was standing there, letting his body soak in the red warmth of the setting sun, and he gazed quietly towards the cloud formations above.
Yo, おはようさん。この時間でおはようっつうのも変だけどさ。
Well, I just woke up, so I think morning is fitting. Heisuke, are you alright? Isn't the sunlight bad for your body? As I'd expressed my worry with him, Heisuke shared with me a warm smile.
辛くないっつうと嘘になるかな。今も夕日が俺の目を焼いてる。体もピリピリしびれが走るし、さっきから少し吐き気もしてるよ。
That is so weird, Heisuke. Then why are you staying out here?
体の痛みなんてどうにでもなるって。本当に怖いのは世界が今までと違って見えることなんだ。
Different?
お前にはさ、ここから見える夕日、綺麗に見えるだろ？俺もそうだ。いや、そうだった。でも今はもうこの夕日の赤より血の赤の方が綺麗に見える。 それがたまらなく怖い。
Heisuke.
そんな心配そうな顔すんなって。確かに身も心も痛いけど、今ならその痛みにも立ち向かえる気がするんだ。
え？
お前がそばにいるからだよ。
As he said this, he seemed to blush a little, turning to the side to avoid eye contact. It didn't seem like he wanted to go back in yet. He stood there, watching the warm hues fill the sky, and I sauntered next to him. Although we are looking at the same setting sun, he and I are seeing different things. Thinking about what had become of us made my heart a little heavy, so I reached for his hand, cold to the touch, to hold. Heisuke's heart won't lose to the fury. So, just like in the forest, we clasped our hands tightly together, gazing into the evening sky. Although I felt powerless, I had felt that, if I were to stay by his side, the future was still worth looking forward to, and it brought me warmth. We watched the sun dip into the horizon, and eventually the rising moon as the night came to visit. As the moon ascended into the gray clouds above, Heisuke stared into the light and chuckled.
ああ、なんだかんだでやっぱり夜の方が気分いいな。
I liked the night as well.
俺ももともと夜更かしとか好きだったからな。よく新八さんや佐野さんと夜通し遊んだりしてたし。
Keep that at a minimum, alright?
言っとくけど、そういう時は大抵あの二人の誘いで仕方なくついてったんだって。
I have a feeling that if I asked them, they'd tell me you were the one that invited them. The three of you are such good friends. No, it wasn't just the three of them. All of the Shinsengumi captains seemed to share a bond that connected them like they were all family. I wish I could stay with the Shinsengumi for a little longer.
そうだな。でも、新選組はこれからどうなるかわからない。
True. There's really no telling how the war will turn out. Also, we have no way of knowing what Cosmo will do after everything's said and done.
ああ。もしまたあいつらが来ても、それに他にどんなことがあっても、俺が守ってやるって言いたいけどさ。あいつらは今の俺より強いし、俺に何があるかもわからない。
He squeezed my hand tighter as he lamented the possibilities. With a quiet gaze, he stared into my eyes.
この闇と同じだよ。俺たちの進む道は先のことなんて見えやしない。俺と一緒に歩いてくってのは、この闇の中を共に歩いていくってことだ。一歩先も見えない中を手探りで。
Heisuke.
こんな俺についてこいなんて言えやしないけど。
His hand was trembling in mine. Heisuke wasn't afraid of fighting, but rather he was afraid he couldn't protect those whom he'd held dear. And it filled me with happiness to know that the person he'd held close to his heart was me, so I grabbed his hand with both of mine. I want to follow wherever you go. I decided this a long time ago. I want to be by your side. But let me say this. I'm not going with you because I want your protection. I'm going with you because I want to be by your side, to walk in the same world as you. That's why I want us to be together.
お前
Heisuke blushed bright red, perhaps caught off guard.
そうか。うん。そうだよな。お前の言う通りだ。それにお前はさ、守られてばかりの女ってわけじゃないもんな。
Well, on the battlefield, it seems like I don't need much, no.
はは、そういう意味じゃないって。
Heisuke laughed.
ありがとな。やっぱお前がいるだけですげえ元気になれる気がするよ。
That's so? Good. I'm happy to hear it.
まあ、さっきは弱気なこと言っちまったけど、今度もし風間が来たとしても、俺が絶対に追い返してやるし。お前はあんな奴のもんじゃなく、俺のなんだって言ってやるから。
Damn! The passion in Heisuke's declaration made me blush. But it was fine. When Heisuke's happy, I'm happy. Alright, Heisuke. Wanna head back soon?
うん、そうっすか。結構冷えてきたし。
We were soon engulfed in darkness around us, and it was a little tough to find our way back. We should be careful, I muttered softly, and when I looked up at Heisuke, he was looking back at me. What's the matter, Heisuke?
いや、少し変なこと考えてただけだ。暗くて進む道なんて見えやしないけど、隣にいるお前の顔はよく見えるなって。
え？
さて、行って飯でも食おうぜ。森の中じゃまともなもん食べてなかったし。
I think everyone's waiting for us to come back. We gripped each other's hands even tighter as we walked back towards Osaka Castle. This war later became known as the Battle of Toba Fushimi. Throughout the war, the shogunate troops had the advantage in numbers, but they were no match against the Sacho, who successfully employed advanced weapons and Western tactics to gain the upper hand. Allegedly, the deciding moment was the arrival of the gold brocade flag, which represented their alliance and backing of the imperial palace. When Lord Yoshinobu had discovered this had happened, he decided to retreat to Edo. At this point, the war became pointless to those serving the shogunate once their leader had left. The prospect of defeat is what moved the last remnants of the shogunate and the Shinsengumi to leave Osaka Castle for Edo. Final chapter! Boat time! On January 10th, our ship was set to sail from the dock. The past wars, our future. These thoughts made me unable to sleep, and I constantly sifted through them alone in bed. So to calm my restlessness, I went to the dock.
あれ？どうしたんだ？こんな夜遅くに。
That should have been the word deck, shouldn't it? こんばんは、Heisuke. I couldn't shut my eyes for more than a second.
そっか。まあ、いろいろあったもんな。
Indeed. Our conversation took a pause, and the sound of crash waves filled the space in our silence. Heisuke watched the water move below him, and he spoke gently.
もうすぐ5年になるんだ
ん？
な。俺たちが江戸から京に出てきてだよ。京に出てくる前の司令官ってすっげえ貧乏でさ、明日の飯にも困るぐらいで、なのにしょっちゅう安酒飲みながらみんなで今の政治はおかしいって言い合ってたんだ。そんな時浪士組募集の話を聞いて一も二もなく飛びついたよ。これで飯の心配をしなくてもよくなる、みんなとずっと一緒にいられるってな。
I could picture the image vividly as he described the bunch of them together. If it was anything like I'd seen of them in Kyoto, they'd be trading banter back and forth, having the time of their lives every day.
江戸にいた頃は尊王攘夷だってみんな言ってたんだけど、京に行ったら逆に尊上浪士を捕まえる側になっちまってさ。近藤さんや土方さんは侍になるってことだけで頭がいっぱいだったみてえだし、新八さんや佐野さんはまあみんなと一緒にいられればそれでいいって感じだったのかな。そんな時幕府の命令であの薬の研究をすることになって、俺はそのことをずっとおかしいって思ってて、他のみんなみてえに割り切ることなんてどうしてもできなくてさ。御領絵師になってからさ、伊藤さんに言われたんだ。あんな薬の研究を押し付けてくる幕府に尽くしていて、本当に報われる日が来ると思っているのって。そりゃそうだよなってその時は思ったけど、だからって伊藤さんが言ってることが全部正しいってわけじゃなかったんだよな。
The sense of anguish and conflict inside of Heisuke must have been bubbling for quite some time. Not only to decide what was right for him, but how he could go about making it so. There aren't many people in the world who are able to navigate this issue sensibly.
人一人ができることにはきっと限りがあるんだろうな。俺はいつの間にか身の丈に合わねえようなことをしようとしちまってたんだ。
Heisuke.
それでその後油麹で死にかけて、まだ死にたくねえって思いだけで羅刹になっちまって、夜にしか動けなくて、切られても撃たれても死なねえ体になって、人を殺してその血を浴びて、血が欲しくて体が震えちまって、とうとう化け物になっちまったと思ったけど、でもお前がいてくれた。
Under the starry night, Heisuke smiled shyly. It was a fleeting smile, one so delicate it felt at any moment like it could float into the night.
ありがとうな。お前がいてくれて本当によかった。
No need to thank me. It was quite the contrary. I think I have Heisuke to thank for his boundless energy and kindness. When I was first brought to the compounds, I remember him timidly telling me that he'd hoped the Shinsengumi would let me go. I remember it fondly.
だから今なら自分が何をするべきかわかるような気がするんだ。天下国家とかこの日の本の未来とか、そんな大それたものじゃなくて、俺自身が守りたいもの、大切なもののためにこの力を使おうって。
Heisuke looked at me peacefully.
約束する。俺はもう新選組の8番組組長でも御領絵師でもない。表向きは死んだことになってる人間だ。 羅刹になった以上、新選組とは切っても切れねえ関係になっちまったけど、お前を守りてえって気持ちだけは変わってない。これから先もずっと。
His voice shook so faintly that it was nearly overpowered as the waves crashed behind us. But Heisuke's eyes told me everything that I'd needed to hear. Thank you, Heisuke. My hair was blowing beside the endless sea. I smiled kindly, our eyes twinkling in moonlight. January 1868. The Battle of Tobafushimi ended with the Sacho victorious. As the shogunate troops retreated, the Shinsengumi headed towards Edo. 4 years ago, I came to Kyoto all by myself in search for my father and met the Shinsengumi. I'm going to leave the city of Kyoto, where I made fond memories with the Shinsengumi. Despite the defeat, his resolve didn't waver, and I have chosen to walk alongside him. We're going to head to Edo, without knowing what fate awaits us.